Hey, podcast listener, even if you are alone in your entrepreneurial pursuit, know that today, right now in your earbuds, you are joined by thousands of entrepreneurs all around the globe seeking to do the same thing you are. If you want to know more about this program or this podcast, or want to get barraged by a lot of annoying pop-ups, check out our website, lifestylebusinesspodcast.com. Yeah, buddy, happy Thursday morning. It's time for another LBP. Today, I am joined by my captain, my co-host, the man who puts the nass into biznass. Welcome to this fine morning, Ian. How are you doing in San Diego?
Doing very, very well.
If you guys stick around to the end of the episode, we'll share some obvious stuff about your browser that you should know and we just found out. But first, the shouts, the news. You are back in the USA. Sad times. What's going on back in California?
Sad times indeed. I wouldn't say sad times necessarily, working with our crew here in the office, in our California office. So having a great time actually doing that.
You just can't get out of the hustle. One of the things we're working on is a home exchange. Explain how that works a little bit.
Yeah, there's all these sites. So we've got this wonderful place in Bali. 3-bedroom house if anybody wants to rent it out from us. And basically what you do on these home exchange sites is you put your house up there and you see if people on other sides of the globe want to rent your house from you or exchange your house, I should say. And this is a phenomenon that's been going on for a long time. I think the wealthy might have started doing this, I guess, with vacation homes.
What do you mean, like middle-class kids from the East Coast? We don't know about home exchanges.
Yeah.
You have to put your pinky up when you say it, I think.
Exactly. So we're going to put our house up on a home exchange site. I think we have to pay an annual fee, which is a pretty good idea on their side. But so we're going to put it up and we're going to see what we can get. We're thinking Singapore. We're thinking Europe. We're thinking we don't know where we're going to go.
It's going to be cool, whatever it is. Thank you to Aaron. This nickname has taken 5 stars, baby. I want to read this because this is an example of awesome copy. Relevant, actionable, and a hell of a lot of fun. Dan and Ian have set a high standard in the genre with the refreshing rapid-fire, no BS approach to location independence and entrepreneurship. I look forward to Thursday releases of the LBP like Saturday morning cartoons when I was a kid with greedy, anxious anticipation. That's awesome. Speaking of shouts, we got an email from Bob Bradley at the Wiley Manager, I would say, just-in-time management advice. He says, Dan and Ian, my business partner and I at Wiley Manager are both firmly middle-aged. Mid-40s, we have wives, children, bona fide real responsibility, and we have not chosen to buy into the myth of security of working for an employer. So basically, I'm sure there's a lot of dreamers out there in the same demographic as me that listen to your podcast. Let them know that spouses and children are not the reason to do what you really want to do. Awesome email.
Yeah, that's great. That's inspiring. I think there are a lot of people in that position that are not just kind of taking it the way that it's supposed to come at that age. So
I'm impressed, Bob, because I can barely dress myself in the morning. So if you were to add a spouse and children, I would be a wreck. Just one little business is enough for me. Well, great job, Bob. Good luck with your business.
Removed from that. Yeah, it's like I was talking to my buddy today, and he's like, I was like, yeah, I eat out every meal, and he's like, yeah, I got a family. It would cost me $40, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Yes. David, there's this day in Bali tomorrow where you literally cannot leave the house. It's against the rules. You cannot leave your house. So Bali has all these traditions and stuff. And so we're kind of going brain dead here. It's like, well, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to shop for food? How does this transaction work? David just comes back in the house with $40 worth of groceries for one day. It's cannot operate like a normal human being.
You remember snow days on the East Coast? It's like if everybody knows it's going to snow, you go to the supermarket and it's like there's no shovels, there's no milk, there's no toilet paper.
It's like you never know how long you're going to be locked down.
Actually, you do. Exactly 24 hours.
Earl says, great site and lots of good content, guys. I run an e-commerce store called tailpetsupply.com, and I was wondering if you had any tips for SEO. Thank you, Earl. All right, we do have some tips for SEO. We are in the pet industry. Here's what I'd say. Everybody can go to Tail Pet Supply and give Earl their feedback in the comments. But what I would say, Earl, is first off, you need to put a 3 to 4 key term phrase that you're targeting in your H1 site title. That's the most important thing, and you want to focus on that key term throughout your front page. So maybe you could say, buy quality dog products at Tail Pet Supply. Quality dog products might be kind of difficult to rank for, so you want to do your keyword research on that. Number 2, your top menu bar right now, it says like dog, fish, cat. You want to get rid of that and focus on 3 to 4 key product landing pages like wood dog houses would be a good one, for example. And on that page, you have the definitive page on the internet about wood dog houses with 2,000 quality words of content, photos, videos, and your product line. And finally, I would either read our post, How to Do SEO the Lazy Way. We'll link up to that on the Tropical MBA. That's just a rip sheet that you can send to your VAs. It costs us about, depending on how many domains you have, just for one domain, maybe about $70 a month to deploy that strategy. Or you could also sign up for our private link network. I think we have like 2 spots left. So if anybody wants to do that. What do you think about the pet industry, Ian? You know a couple things about it. Rumor has it you own a cat furniture company.
Oh boy, pet industry, man. That is that's rough, man. That's rough. I think you've got a good-looking site here, Earl. But I think it looks like 50 other sites that I saw yesterday. We are in this industry. I think Dan's advice is sound. I think you do need to niche. I think that would be my approach for you. I think these sites, so we sell cat products. We used to sell a lot through sites that look just like this, through independent retailers. Now we sell more through larger sites like Wayfair, Brookstone, PetSmart. And these sites are kind of falling by the wayside because Wayfair's got deals with everybody. They got deals with Sears.com, Walmart.com, and a bunch of other places that most people shop. So unless you're going to do something niche, which I think you should, I would kind of reconsider your approach here.
It says referred by wagging tails everywhere. That's sort of your tagline. And, it doesn't give me a reason to stick around on the site. Like Ian said, we've seen 50 to 60 other sites like this. We deal with them every day. What I would do is look at your best-selling product. I would just 80-20 the crap out of this thing. What are they? And I would say, find the benefit that's most appealing out of your product line for anybody and make that your tagline. Because that's what's going to get people to stick. And then, of course, you can add them, add-ons. If that's funky saltwater fish tanks or whatever at under $50, if that's what it is, put it in the tagline. Get me in at that, and then build out my customer profile. So it's like, oh, you like funky fish tanks? Well, you're probably going to like funky fish food, man. And then that's how I would start to build it out, rather than having this kind of general store. It's like I always think of it as a pyramid, Ian. Like people think of e-commerce like it's like the broad edge of the pyramid's at the top. Like we're pet supply, and then once you get on there, you niche them down until they check out, and it's like I've got funky fish food at the bottom. I think if you're just getting started in business, you need to invert that pyramid and have the point at the top, and it's like get in with funky fish food and exit with a cart full of a bunch of products.
Agreed. That's really good feedback, and I think there's a lot of problems in the pet industry that need to be solved, and there's a lot of people working on it. Like for example, shipping dog food. It's really heavy and fairly expensive, so people are working on that. So I'm not sure how much experience you have in the pet industry, but there's definitely a lot of problems to be solved. So I would pick a couple of those problems.
All right, Earl. Let us know how it goes, man. Manuel writes from Berlin, apparently one of the most happening spots in Europe right now. He says, I want to relocate to Southeast Asia, maybe Chiang Mai. What is the best place to set up my business? It's not Thailand, that's for sure. You're not going to want to set up your offshore entity in Thailand. It's not going to be the Philippines. It's expensive. It's complicated. There's a lot of advantages. But when you're just doing a startup, it's easy to go to Hong Kong or Singapore. Why? 0 corporate tax rate if you can prove you're living in Thailand and doing business outside of Singapore or Hong Kong. You got a global reputation. It's easy to deal with. PayPal integration, reliable court system, fair, cheap, and easy, just like Ian. Oh,
it's so true.
Let's get moving on to the meat and potatoes. Today we're going to talk about tropicalworkforce.com and the idea of running internships. We've run 9 or 10 internships now, and we've made a crap ton of mistakes. We've had a lot of big wins. Yep. We've seen a lot of our friends run internships now, and I think we've got 5 tips for running a successful internship. We've got a couple big players launching internships this week on Tropical Workforce. And so what we're trying to do, Ian, is guide everybody who's on that site to give internships in the most successful way possible. And there's just a lot of things that don't work. And so we're going to do a real quick fire here, the 5 quick tips if you want to run a successful internship. Number 1.
Yes, I am real quick here. I'm really excited about these 5 points because of a few things. One is I think it's really important for us to articulate how this internship works. And we're just hanging out with one of our buddies in the Philippines, older guy, very established, successful business, and we're trying to convince him to run one of these internships. And I think we try to convince a lot of people to run these internships, and the reason is because it's been so impactful for our business and the people that are the interns at the time. And I think it's like one of these things, like these mentor relationships in a lot of ways. For us, it has been some of that, but I think for our buddy, it could be more of that because he's older. And so I look back in my life, and I know, Dan, you look back in your life, and these mentor kind of relationships and how meaningful they were to you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the reason why people are apprehensive to have or to host these internships is because they don't feel like they have a lot to offer.
Yes.
And I feel like that's a hurdle that we've kind of got over. And once we got there, we realized, hey, we can teach people what we know, and it's really meaningful to those people. So
yeah, it's amazing that people with such successful businesses can have such a complex about it. But I think part of it is just, hey, put it out there. Put out there your opportunity. Be transparent about what it is you do in your business, and let the intern decide whether they want to come and work for you or not. And I think you're going to be surprised if you have a business up and running, how much people want to be a part of that. So let's get moving on. 5 quick tips. This is how you do it. Number 1, you pay them. We have done a lot of experimentation with free internships. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's not sustainable. People can't focus on the work because they have to worry about making a living. And I think these kinds of free internships, they're really everybody thinks it's a great idea for like 4 weeks until it just fizzles out into nothing.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I think if you're hiring an intern, and this isn't really our model, but if you're hiring an intern that's in college, that sometimes works out for free. But all the internships that we've run in our business that have really helped grow our business have been paid. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to write a big check every month, but for us that means, covering overhead expenses and then also cutting a check. So there's ways to dice it. In our business it means opening up the Bali house to people.
Number 2, and this is related, make it full time. Because so then as we kind of scale it up, it's like, well, maybe we'll just pay them like a little bit, and then like they can do half of their business and like half of our business, or maybe the promise of the internship will be like, I'll help you start your own business. And all that stuff didn't work as well as just saying, you know what, you're gonna be the right hand person here, and you're gonna get this thing off the ground. This is gonna be an opportunity for all of us, and we're gonna put our best energy into it.
Yeah, we have done it both ways, right? We've done it part-time and we've done full-time. And without a doubt, I would say every internship going forward for us is going to be a full-time gig. And that really works well because everybody's focused and kind of on the same track toward end goals.
And here's the thing. It's like, we're not draconian about this at all. Everybody's like I think most of our employees have personal blogs and they have like little niche sites out there and everything. But if it ever becomes a point in time where it's like, you can tell them that their heart is there, their passion is there, and really they see the biggest opportunities in their own business. It's like either we become investors, we give them the best wishes, support them in any way we can, but get them focused on what's going to make a difference. And you got to have that full time, like my heart's in it to win it focus if you're going to make changes. And I think early on in the process, we wanted to. We lacked a little bit of confidence about the opportunity. Maybe we wanted to try to cut some corners, and it just doesn't work that well. It sucks when you're really invested in bringing projects to fruition and you kind of got half stacks, as you affectionately call them, trying to help you. Number 3, create a community around the idea. Even if that's just the 2 of you, I think it's a Will Smith song. Just
just the two of us.
Would it be would it be against terms of service to play that song in the background right now? I don't know how much time you have, podcast editor, but give them something to opt into. In our case, we give scholarships to the Dynamite Circle. We throw parties and meetups around the world. We're always going to meet our interns. We're bringing them into our house. We're making sure that they connect with our friends. There's all kinds of opportunities for them to sort of opt into a sense of the lifestyle of what it means to be a part of your company.
Yeah, and for us, everybody that's been an intern, I think that's been one, if not the biggest benefit for them. Being an intern is actually being part of the community. So a couple times it's happened that we've had people apply and it's like, hey guys, I'm way overqualified for what you're looking for, but I just want to come hang out with you and be a part of the community. And I think that's a lot of people's ambitions with this, at least in our experience. And so that's a huge benefit.
Number 4, present them with big challenges. Put them in charge of big goals for your business and task them with getting it done. I mean, that's the magic of the opportunity of the internship for the entrepreneur, which is, with businesses like our publishing business, Ian, you're putting somebody in charge of it and you're saying, we trust you to do this. Like, this is something that you can achieve. And, normally you wouldn't be able to put somebody in charge of a situation like that except if you had an extra $50,000 laying around annually. But the opportunity of something like Tropical Workforce is like you have an extra $1,000, boom, let's get this thing started. Task that person with the startup situation. And then, either offer them, you can do this a bunch of ways. Equity is a possibility depending on the personalities, bonus incentives for sure, fast, reviews and escalating pay scales, developing opportunities. I think what you got to do is present them with an exit plan. Like, these businesses evolve so fast that imagine if you can get somebody in for $1,000 today and 16 months later they're making double, triple that. And they're poised at the top of an organization that has huge opportunities. The alternative of having to wait until you have an extra $50,000 a year is
rough.
It's rough, yeah. And so I really think that that's the opportunity here for people. And when you bring somebody in, it's not, look, this is $1,000 a month and you pour me coffee for 6 months and then we'll talk about it. This is
right.
Very much like we're structuring this. This is going to be an opportunity here.
Right. And you throw them into a position where they can actually make an impact. I think that's the important part there.
So in the 5th tip, we're going to talk about some of the best practices that have created accountability for us. Because, one of the challenges for us is we've got 13 people running around in different locations. It's kind of tough to keep tabs on everything and still be creative, do the hard work yourself. So the 3 pieces of process that have worked really well for us is, number 1, Friday reports. Everybody on the team delivers a report format to us, results focused. And that's awesome for me because that way I don't have to sit around and be copied on every freaking company email all day long. Like a lot of bosses end up just being copied on everything because they just want to see everything.
Right.
And with the higher level interns, like you can get a Tropical Workforce, like these people are smarter than Ian and I combined, and then add some brain power on top of it. So it's like just they can handle the day-to-day themselves. And so all we need to see is the Friday reports so we can kind of guide the direction or make some judgments here and there.
Exactly. I love our Friday reports. They're so helpful for me. Everybody generally gets copied on them, and everybody does them, even the interns.
It's a great exercise for the interns too, because they're accounting for like the key metrics in our business. So that process makes them look at like, okay, I was busy all day long. I was like working all week long, but did I do anything? Did we accomplish anything together? And I think that's a great thing to get them thinking about as well.
Yes. And so just real quick here in the Friday reports, I'm not sure if we've ever talked about Friday reports, but I just want to touch on it real quick. Usually there's what did I do this week, what am I going to do next week, and then kind of longer term goals. So it's broken down into three different categories.
Yes, and very results focused. So, we're talking about revenue reports. Like there's a lot of figures, percentage, and dollar signs on these reports, which is very much we're trying to, make these things quantifiable. Another thing, not so quantifiable, monthly Skypes. For those employees that we don't have in our immediate proximity, we're getting on the phone every month with them, with kind of like the idea of like, these are, we pay every month, and so it's like, all right, well, you're going to work again for us the next month. What are we going to move forward this next month? And that's closely related to our third point, which is goalposts. We very much set the goalposts in 4-week time frames. And so there's that sort of weekly report, but then there's also like, look, I want to get paid from you guys next month too, so here's a big goalpost that I'm going to do. And that's important when these people aren't 5 feet away from you in an office and they're off on some beautiful tropical island. You want to make sure that there's a reason we're all going to continue to work together for the next 4 weeks, and that's where that Skype phone call comes in handy.
Yes.
I think that's it. I think those are the 5 key things that we've learned. Maybe next week, once we get, I think Chris Ducker is going to be putting up his opportunity. I've read over it last night is awesome. I mean, it's a truly amazing opportunity for somebody to change their life. Like, to go from corporate schlub with kind of like a 15-year career track to the fast track.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I met Chris Ducker for the first time when we were in the Philippines, and we talked about building this when we were in Starbucks. So seeing this come to life is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, and 2 of your favorite things, entrepreneurship and Starbucks. Let's get moving on to the quick tips, tricks, and or funny joke section. 2 really quick things. Number 1, if you're in your Chrome browser, and this is, for a tech, I don't know anything about tech, but you can open up when you hit view element, so you can see sort of the view source of the page. You can see what's going on. You can edit the CSS elements, the styling elements of any web page, and they immediately render. And this is a cool little feature, especially when you're trying to update the design of a website. You can demonstrate to somebody how their site would look if you updated CSS elements live. Well, this has another...
This is very cool.
It's very cool, and it has another side effect, which is that a lot of developers make little CSX hacks. So if you go to a certain website all the time and you want to make it look different, you can download little CSS hacks that change that site. So I just installed StyleBot. We'll link C up to that onto my Chrome browser, and installed a plugin or a little CSS switch called Clean Hacker News. Hacker News is one of my favorite websites, along with the Dynamite Circle. That's where I hang out, and it looks much better. So it's just a cool little nice touch. It's an improved design, and it's a fun thing to play around with.
Look at you doing a little hacking on the weekends. I like it.
I didn't actually hack it. I installed a plugin. Also, I just want to mention briefly, most of you guys use Gmail. I love the new design updates, but I was frustrated by the icons. Well, if you're not on a Google Apps account, you can now log into your Gmail settings and change those buttons back to text, just like the good old days. Well, it's been a good old day for us. Every Thursday morning, managed to stop rapping about BS and actually turn on the recording software.
It's tough for us, man. I'm telling you.
Alrighty, and I look forward to, we'll talk tomorrow, but we'll see you guys next week.
Ciao.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening. Don't be shy. We've got a mailing list, lifestylebusinesspodcast.com. Go there, get yourself signed up, and we'll keep you up to date on everything